conscious of a constant psychological discomfort and this consistent negativity. One who always tries to look backwards, and I can see it. It's right there on the mirror-like surface, like you just try to reflect your life, and that way it'll always stay perfect, but you can't even remember who you are anymore, and that can only get worse. And recycled shells of culture goes to the past bad idea. They don't make a base of any substance to substantiate a movement or create a new way of thinking or change any of the problems around you. They simply reinforce ideas like confidence, the need for competition and betterment, as if you're not already the most amazing example of you that there is. And how do they put up your accomplishments against those of your peers? And they say, well, you know, you're not quite doing as well as this guy over here. You know, he's got a big house and car and he makes $90,000 a year, and he's the perfect example of happiness, successful and fearless. And when he gets home at night to his wife and his 3 perfect kids, he doesn't communicate with any of them. He just tells her she's worthless and has a brandy on ice and tries to decide which one to hit first, because it's the only way you can feel like a man after he sucks dick all day at work. And as much fun as that all sounds, I think I'd rather just be happy. I think I'd rather decide well be instead of letting them tell me, because that's not a life, that's a time bomb of disappointment and misery. And if it doesn't blow now, it carries through the kids, the involuntary recipients of an absolutely ridiculous need to always strive to beat those that are out and down, to always have to best their fellow man at everything, instead of trying to make the world a better place for our successors. We all just want to fight non-whites and take up all of the world's resources and burn them up as quickly as humanly possible, with absolutely no consideration of any ramification for any of the third world nations that we've ravaged, raped, exploited until our dicks are raw and bleeding, and now they're fucked and fighting with corruption's bastard children, with guns, disease, hunger, war, poverty. And we're concerned with whose responsibility it really is to help them. And you don't fucking write just as much of you who signed the order as it is on your murderous drones you dubbed as peacekeeping soldiers, the ones you allow to shoot those who don't respect your authority. In a country you took by force from people who never needed saving, until you sponsored militant factions with guns, supplies, and greenbacks, just so you could offer some security against further attacks at a much higher price than you paid to cause crisis in the first place. Now that government will always be in debt to your relief, but now that monster you unleashed on them, now you can't even stop it. Now it threatens your homeland, and now that just can't happen, so you decide to throw a tantrum to show the world what will happen when you give an angry, bitter child any inkling of power. You know they will always take it too far. Someone's gonna get hurt, someone's gonna start crying, someone's gonna get dirt kicked up in their face and told they're nothing but second-class citizens. Whether it's a war on drugs or a war on terrorism, it's really a war on personal freedom dressed up in wolf's clothing, inflicted like a pestilence upon the sheep it's supposed to be protecting. If you can't imagine the horrors that they're conjuring overseas, you can surely appreciate the bullshit that they're trying to pull here. At least they're honest to the people that they're trying to suppress. Here they call the killers cops, and they say they're trying to protect the population from self-destructive urges towards a natural situation, a forced coalition of effort towards a more powerful nation. And you don't necessarily want to be happy as long as you make more money, to help the economy get stronger, to help the hive make honey, to help the rest of your fellow ants to build the colony bigger. That's why they keep a constant finger on that nuclear trigger, to remind us how unimportant that the individual is. Just as long as our civilization keeps us all fenced in and undesirables out through thought, creativity, enlightenment, enemies of a system based upon voluntary enslavement. But there isn't a single day when I don't wake up and feel incredibly grateful that I was born in a democratic country so close to the border of the most powerful nation on the face of the goddamn planet. The big angry American bullies, the ones you always want to stay friends with, but it comes at the cost of watching them hold the little guys down, of helping them bomb grammar schools at the edge of small Arab towns, and of helping them build munitions to sell to struggling new nations, and letting them tell us how we're going to react to the international situation, and backing them up in any event of a military persuasion, whether it's an all-out war on some superpower nation or the biased policing of countries half the size of Nova Scotia. We protect them from bullets by holding the guns to the heads of their soldiers, but this isn't about who's right or wrong. I think you're all fucking guilty. I think we all need to be tried for crimes against humanity, but not so much as a noun, as a concept like time or love or charity. Now the common misconception is that it costs blood to be free, but I think we can do alright if we can just strive towards brotherhood, do away with petty squabbling, allow all points to be understood, and if we can try to live upon the earth a little more ecologically minded, try to build our homes a little smaller, try to put gas and coal and oil behind us, and maybe have a little less impact on the world around you, unless it's in a social manner, try to change minds and open them up to things they will never allow themselves to realize in the first place. Teach them to think instead of allowing atrocities with a helpless complacence, that maybe now's the time to start growing international power for good. Maybe now's the time to speak up for the control of those who would be hanged as fucking traitors if they spoke out against conditions that our own allies have forced their people to come to live in. And don't ever allow yourselves any apathetic complacency. It's as dangerous and irresponsible as you can imagine it would be to fire a gun into a crowd. Don't be a fucking victim. Speak out against injustice. Keep your conscious voices loud.